understand the pattern. And it has the experience to do it. So really, machine handle unknown situations just like people. And the way that most discovery is done is through the combination of patterns, interfaces, and descriptors. And I'll go into exactly what each one is. But the combination is really what is discovered. So let's start with patterns. Human brain is obsessively driven by pattern. Everything we do is all about pattern matching, which is why when you look at the clouds, you always see something. Everything looks like something we know because that's how the human brain works. When you see somebody, the main feature of the face or how the brain is basically matching its memory to know that you're familiar with that person. You hear a melody, you hear a sound, you smell something. It's all about recognizing patterns. And if you think about computers, it's a lot of, how many programs did you write that basically had a lot of string comparison. And as I said before, the way we understand the world is basically through a constant attempt to match new experiences to old experiences. Patterns have a context, and the context can either change the meaning. So we have a pattern here, and within this context, it's a mathematical expression, and within this context, it's a text-based artwork. Sometimes the context can add specialization. So this is a person, and this is me. So the pattern itself is the face. It's, we recognize that this shape. I mean, if you look at this, it's a couple of lines, and our brain immediately knew that this is a person. And we just put a circle around it, and the brain immediately knew, oh, it's a mirror. That's me. We discovered new things by applying old patterns. So if you took a caveman and showed them a screen with a picture of a butter knife, they probably wouldn't know what to do with it because it's just some circle on the screen. The screen is flat. But because we have experiences from using keys and buttons, when the first web browser came with a button on it, it didn't take much learning experience for people to figure out what to do. They moved the cursor over and they clicked it because they had the experience, and so it was easy for them to apply a real button to a picture of a button on the screen. So again, we see a picture button and we apply our experience. Anything can be a pattern. It can be a shape, an outline, it can be a sound, it can be a text string. If you think about XML namespaces, it's basically just a URI formatted string that you just do a match on. Interfaces. So this is the actual dictionary definition of an interface. People think about interfaces always with computers and an API, and it's really just a point at which two independent systems interact. So anytime you have two discrete systems, discrete objects, and they interact, that's an interface. So every two objects have many possible interfaces, each with a different outcome. So we have a person and a frog, and the person can try to talk to the frog, kiss it, lick it, or eat it. And these are all different interfaces, and you can choose whichever one is the most applicable to what you want to accomplish. When we encounter something new, we use patterns to identify its interfaces. So we understand what interfaces our hand has. The hand can do many different things, and we understand it. So if we see a robotic hand, we can understand from the way our hand works is how that robotic hand can interface with other objects, because we apply a pattern to understand an interface. Interfaces have multiple purposes. I'll let you infer whatever meaning you want from this slide. Pattern and context help us choose the best interface. So if we see a person, we can conclude from that we can speak a language with that person as a useful interface. If you meet a person you never met before, you're probably not going to poke them, kiss them, touch them, or do anything physical with them, because in most cultures around the world, touching a person that you don't know is frowned upon. So speaking will be the natural choice. But now you have to choose the best interface. You can have multiple languages, so you'll use patterns and context to help you choose. So here we now have a context. We've seen the person, we're in Brooklyn, so okay, that's going to probably eliminate French and Hungarian as natural choices for interfaces. And the person is wearing some pretty distinct clothing, which will allow us to further optimize the interface we choose. So we're using patterns, the clothing, and the fact that it's the shape of a person, and we're in the location to have context. And we can also use patterns to identify interfaces, so that we can name the interface itself and give it a pattern. So those concepts all work together. Here is a string that basically identifies the HTTP/1.1 interface. Descriptors. Any questions so far? Descriptors are containers for information about something. And they're useful when we can't embed patterns directly into an object. So if you think about a person, and we usually keep our resumes separate from our body, given that this would not be a very practical approach to embedding metadata. So a descriptor is basically just something. It's a container that we can stick a bunch of patterns in, and those patterns will identify interfaces and information about us. There are many kinds of descriptors. It can be a name tag. It's a very small and precise descriptor. It can be a menu, a little more information, or it can be an XML file. And descriptors contain a collection of patterns, because as we know, the way we recognize the information is using patterns. The pattern can be text, it can be pictures, it can be whatever it is, but we identify information using patterns. Alright, so now we come to discovery. Discovery is where we put all this together. It's the process in which we obtain descriptors when we encounter something new. So we find something new, and we want to learn more about it. So we need to get a descriptor that tells us how to interact with it and what it is about it. So in this example, we have a girl coming to a place, and there's another there's a man there, and she's trying to figure out how to find descriptors about what's going on. So in this case, we have she basically, in this scenario, she asked for a menu. And this makes sense. This is kind of like, for people, it's kind of like you walk into a deli, and the first thing you'll say is, "Can I have a menu, please?" Or you look at the billboard. If this was a machine, the way this would work is the sign gives us context. The name tag gives us a pattern to understand that this is a waiter, because usually people don't wear name tags in a restaurant for no other reason. If you decide to go to a restaurant and wear a name tag, you're probably going to get approached by people asking you for service, because that pattern will identify for them that's what you're there for. And the interface that she chose is to speak in English and ask for the menu. And the menu is, of course, the descriptor. So it's a lot of fancy words to describe